Hello everyone, welcome to Learn with Techies. In this video, we will learn about decision control instruction, if-else condition, conditional operators, switch case, and we will end all of this with some practice exercise. Let's talk about decision control instruction. So assume you have to go to a mall. So how you will go? So basically you will calculate, okay, if the distance is greater than 2 kilometers, then I'll take a car, else I'll walk. So if you can see in the diagram also, that's what we are doing. We are just, if you are traveling to a mall, then you go to a condition, okay, if distance is greater than 2 kilometers, there is a yes scenario where we drive by car, and then there is a else scenario where we walk. So here the keyword to notice is if and else, because with the help of these terms we are defining what we will do in what scenarios. Like if the distance is greater than 2 kilometers, then drive by car, else walk. So if we want to cover these kind of scenarios where a statement is executed only on one condition and another statement is executed on other condition, then we use decision control instruction. In Java, this is implemented using two ways: if-else or conditional operators. Let's talk about if-else. So this is the format of if-else condition. Here, this keyword if, it tells the compiler that whatever we have written within this bracket, if that is true, then we will execute this statement. Else, if this condition is false, then we will execute whole of this block. Now coming back to our example where we were talking about if the distance is greater than 2 kilometers, then you have to drive by car, else walk. Let's see how we can write the same thing in Visual Studio Code. So let's try to write this program. We have added a scanner to get an input. Here we will get an integer which will tell how much distance is the kilometer, like what's the distance in kilometer from the mall and to your house. We'll do this like extent like we have already done. Now let's write that exact if else condition. So if you remember, the condition was something like that: if distance is greater than 2, then drive equals to car, else let's create a variable first, mode equals to car, else mode equals to walk. So here it's saying that okay, it should be an double quote because it's not a character, it's a whole string, so we have to add it into a double quote. It's also saying that we have not assigned we have not created this variable mode, so let's go ahead and create a variable mode. We are just declaring a variable, we are assigning it within these blocks. It's asking for a semicolon. So this is what we have written, and let's print this out. So if you see, this is the if-else condition here. What we are saying, that if distance is greater than 2, so if this condition is true, then this line number 12 will be executed, else line number 14 will be executed. Let's just run this one. It will ask me for let's enter 1. So here it's saying okay, the mode is walk. Why? Because the distance that we entered is less than 2 kilometers. 2 basically. Here we have not added kilometer, but that's what we are assuming. Now let me clear this up. Now let's run it again. Let's add the mode as 4. So here it's saying okay, the mode is car. If you see here, since we are using system.printf, so this line, it's being printed, the output is printed here, and then the next cursor remains here only. So for that, let's go ahead and add a /n. What it will do, it will put the cursor into the next line. Let's just try it out. If you see now, so the mode is car. So now suppose the condition that we have earlier, let's add one more scenario with that. So now we are saying that if the distance is greater than 2 kilometers and you have money, that is the money that you have is greater than 0, then only you will take the car, else you will walk, because you will not have the money. So in this case, if you see, we have added this and. So there are two conditions which are joined by and. So here and is called a logical operator. Now suppose the scenario that we have earlier, let's add one more condition to that. So now what we are saying, that if the distance is greater than 2 km and you have money, that is money is greater than 0, then only you will drive by car, else you will walk. So here the keyword you have to notice is this and. So what this and means that if both of the condition is true, like if the distance is also greater than 2 km and you have more money, like money is greater than 0, then only you will drive by car, else you will walk. So let's go into Visual Studio Code and see how we will write it. So we are back here. Let's write here. So basically what we have to write here, now we have to add money is also greater than 0. That means we need to input one more variable from the user where they will talk about how much money they have. Money, and let's go ahead and add and money is greater than 0. So here if you see, it's saying, so basically in Java, instead of this keyword and, we use ampersand. This means the same as and. Basically what's it saying, that if the distance is greater than 2 and the money is greater than 0, then only the mode will be car, else the mode will be walk. Let's just try it out. Distance is 1 and money is 5. So it's saying mode is walk. Why? Because distance is less than 2 km. Although the money is greater than 0, but the distance is still less than 2 km. Let's run it again. This time we are saying, okay, distance is 2. Let's put distance as 3 and money is also 3. So this time mode is car because you have the money as well as the distance is also large. Now let's try it again. This time what we are saying, distance is 4 but the money is 0. Then you have to again walk because both of the scenarios are not getting satisfied. So here the thing that you have to notice is this ampersand. This is called a logical operator in Java. Now suppose we want to make it more complex and we want to add some more conditions in here. So how we will do that? For that we have something called nested if-else block. So if you see in the diagram here, we want to travel to mall. So this is the first scenario we checked. Okay, if the distance is greater than 4 km, it's true, then okay, you can drive by car. But if it's not true, that is distance is less than 4 km, then we go into this else scenario and here we will check again. Okay, if the distance is greater than 2 km, if it's true, then you will drive by cab. So basically this one will be executed when the distance is between 2 km and 4 km. So if this is between them, then this yes will be executed. Now suppose the distance that you entered is even less than 2 km. Then what you will do, you will go into this else block because this condition is also not true. So you will go into this else block and then you will just walk. So here if you see, they are not single if-else condition. Here with this else came one more if. So to solve these kind of scenarios where we have multiple if-else condition, we have a concept called nested if-else. This is the format of nested if-else. If you see, the first scenario is still the same. You have a if block and then you have, okay, if this condition is true, then execute this statement. Now in the else scenario, if you see, there is one more if, because in the else what we are saying, okay, if the first condition was not true and you go into second condition and this second condition is true, then you will execute this one. But even if the second condition is also not true, you will go and execute this third statement. Sorry, it should be third here. So here what we are seeing, that okay, this was the first scenario, which was okay, if the first scenario is running is true, we will execute this statement. Now we go into the second scenario. If it's not true, then it goes directly to this else, but if it's true, then it goes into this statement. One thing to notice here is this statement will be executed when this scenario and this scenario both are not true. This statement 2 will be executed when this one is not true, and the first one will be executed when this condition is true. So going back to the example which we discussed, if we want to write whole of this into Visual Studio Code, we have to use nested if-else condition. So let's go into our Visual Studio Code and see how we will write. So this is how it was looking earlier. Now we have to add one more condition here. Okay, if the distance is greater than 4 km, then the mode is car. Here we added one more scenario. If distance is greater than 2, then the mode is equal to cab. And then else, if both of them are false, then the mode is walk. So if you see, we have the first if, then we have a nested else if, because in this else scenario, this is the one that is being called. Like once this first condition is not true, then you will go into this else, then you will again check for the second scenario. If this is true, then you will go here, else you will go here. Now you can add as many nested if you want. If you want to, you could have done something like one more if here, and you could have added something here, and then you could have put else here. So basically after each else, you can start one more if else scenario. So this was it for if else scenario. Now let's move ahead to conditional operators. So this is the second way how we can do in Java. We can use decision control instructions. So this was conditional operator was the second way of doing that. So conditional operator is also same as if else, only the way we write it, it's different. So this is the syntax that we use for writing conditional operator. So this is exactly same as if else, only we don't have the if and else keyword. So if you see here, this is technically the if block. What we are saying that we will write a condition here, and this question mark means that if this condition is true, then you will execute expression 1, and if this condition is false, then you will execute expression 2. So technically this question mark acts like if, and this acts like else. So if the condition is true, execute expression 1, if else, execute expression 2. If you see in the diagram below, this can also be nested. Like we have nested if else, we can have nested conditional operator also. I know it's a little bit confusing. Let's go into our example and we can practically understand how it all looks. So this was how our code was using if else. Now let's write the same statement using conditional or ternary operator. So first, as per the format, first we will write the condition. Here the condition is this one. So we will copy this and we will add it here. After that, if you remember, we had a question mark. That means now we have to write the if. What will happen once the if one is executed? So this line, the if part, what will happen if this if condition is true, that will go here after this question mark. We only write car, and then we have a colon. After that, what we have to write? Else part, like what will happen if this condition is false? Then we will write, okay, we will walk. This is the ternary conditional operator. We have to add a variable here. Because like how we have execute here and we have a variable to store the result, in the same way whatever we get from here, like once this is executed, this condition, either this part, the if part, or the else part will be executed. So whatever will be the output, that will be stored in here. Let's go ahead and print this one. Let's run this up. So mode is car. Let's just run this again. Mode is walk. If you see, it's the same thing, only with whatever is after the question mark, that will be the true part. Like if the condition is true, whatever will happen, that will go here, and whatever is false, that will go after colon. So if you remember our earlier example, there was also one complex scenario that we handled. So let's pause the video and you can think of, or you can comment in the videos how we will solve this scenario using the nested if else, or nested conditional operator. I hope you would have tried that. Let's see the solution. So it's again same thing. First we will write the first condition, which is this one, and then after question mark we will write what will happen if this is true. That will be car. Then you will write the else part. Now for else, here we have a nested else. So we will do what we'll do. We will again do the same thing. We will take the condition, and after that we will add a question mark, and we will add, okay, what will happen if this, now this condition is true? That's a cab. We'll add it here. Now what will happen if this condition is false? That will go into this else block, and that will be our walk. So this is the one where we do the nested one. If we print this out, let's run it. So the mode is car because this is greater than 4. If we run the same thing and we put 3. So here the mode is cap because this is greater than 2. Now if we put mode as 1, mode is walk. If we put mode as, so this is what is called nested conditional operator. You can have a question, okay, if we already have a if else in conditions and statement, why do we need this ternary operator? So generally we use ternary operator to simplify the code. That is, instead of writing this whole longer if else part, this all is condensed into a single statement. So it's better from readability perspective also. This is the practice example. You have to input a number from keyboard and then you have to output whether that number is odd or even. So a number is even if dividing by 2 is the remainder is 0. So you can pause the video and think about the solution. You can also comment the solution in the video. So we are back in our Visual Studio Code. This is our input statement. We are using scanner to read the input. So first we will use sc.nextInt because we are reading an integer number or a number. We are using sc.nextInt. Then what we will do, we will create a new variable, the result, and we will put num mod 2. Basically this mod gives the remainder. So as we know that even number is a number whose division by 2 leaves the remainder as 0. So this is what we are getting. Then we will write a if condition, and in this we will write, okay, if the result equals to 0, that means we have to execute this statement where we are saying, okay, number is even. Else we will execute this statement where we are saying number is odd. Let's run this. Right? Let's put an even, saying number is even. Let's put something like 7, saying number is odd. We can also do the same thing with the ternary operator. Let's quickly try that. Then let's put a variable res, and we will say, we will first add the condition result equals to 0. Then let's put it as string result only. We will print this whole statement only here. So we will see, okay, if it's true, that means number is even, and if it's odd, that means number is odd. So if you see here, we are saying, okay, if this condition that we are adding, it's true, that means this statement will be executed, and if this condition is false, then this condition will be executed. Let's print this also. We have added it into a variable. Let's just try it again. Number is odd, number is even. Thanks for joining in our journey. Do like and subscribe our channels for more videos, and do comment in the videos if you want me to cover some other topics also. And see you again in the next video. Till then, have a nice day.